Once upon a time, in a cheerful little town filled with colorful houses and blossoming gardens, lived a young boy named Tom. Tom had bright, curious eyes, a sprinkle of freckles across his nose, and a heart full of sunshine. Every day, he walked to and from school, his blue backpack bouncing with each happy step. He loved school, especially art class where he could paint rainbows, and story time when his teacher would take him on adventures to faraway lands just by reading from a book. One sunny afternoon, as the school bell rang its joyful tune, Tom packed his bag, waved goodbye to his friends, and started his walk home. The sun warmed his face, and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves on the big oak trees that lined the street. Tom was humming a little song he had made up, thinking about the delicious sandwich his mom had packed for his lunch. He hadn't eaten it all because he was too busy building a magnificent block tower during recess. He had saved half of his tasty turkey and cheese sandwich, a juicy red apple, and a little bag of carrot sticks. He was saving them for an afternoon snack to eat in his favorite spot under the big willow tree in his backyard. As he turned the corner onto Maple Street, he saw something he hadn't noticed before. Sitting on a park bench, with his head down and his shoulders slumped, was a man. The man wore an old, worn-out coat, even though it was a warm day. He looked tired and very, very sad. Tom slowed his steps. He usually hurried past strangers, just as his parents had taught him, but something about this man made him pause. The man's stomach let out a loud, rumbling growl, a sound so loud that Tom could hear it from the other side of the sidewalk. It sounded like a grumpy bear waking up from a long nap. The man looked up, and his eyes met Tom's. They were kind eyes, but they looked empty and weary. Tom's own stomach felt a little pang, not of hunger, but of something else, a feeling of concern. He thought about the yummy sandwich in his backpack. He thought about how happy he was going to be eating it under his willow tree. But then he looked at the man again, and he imagined how it must feel to be that hungry. It must feel awful. Tom clutched the strap of his backpack. His heart was beating a little faster. He remembered a story his grandma used to tell them about how a little bit of kindness can be like planting a seed that grows into a big, beautiful tree of happiness. He took a deep breath, walked right up to the bench, and said in his small but clear voice, "Excuse me, sir, are you hungry?" The man looked surprised. He blinked a few times, as if he couldn't believe a little boy was talking to him. He nodded slowly. "Yes, son, I am very hungry." Without another moment's thought, Tom swung his backpack off his shoulders and unzipped the front pocket. He carefully took out his lunch. He held out the perfectly wrapped half of his turkey and cheese sandwich. "You can have my sandwich," he said. "My mom makes the best sandwiches." The man's eyes widened. He looked at the sandwich, then back at Tom. A small, faint smile appeared on his face. "Are you sure?" he asked, his voice raspy. "You might want that for later." "I'm sure," Tom said confidently. "I also have an apple and some carrots, if you like." He pulled out the shiny red apple and a little bag of crunchy carrots and placed them on the bench next to the sandwich. "There, now you can have a full meal." The man stared at the food for a long moment. Then he looked at Tom with so much warmth in his eyes that it felt like a hug. "Thank you," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "Thank you, young man. This is the kindest thing anyone has done for me in a very long time." He unwrapped the sandwich and took a bite. As he chewed, he closed his eyes, and the tired lines on his face seemed to soften. He looked like he was tasting the most wonderful food in the entire world. Tom stood there watching, and a strange and wonderful feeling bloomed inside his chest. It was warm and bubbly, like fizzy lemonade on a hot day. It was even better than the feeling he got when he scored a goal in soccer or got a gold star on his homework. He wasn't hungry anymore. In fact, he felt full of happiness. "My name is Tom," he said, deciding the man was no longer a stranger. "What's your name?" The man swallowed his bite of sandwich and smiled, a real, genuine smile this time. It lit up his whole face. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Tom. My name is Arthur." "It's nice to meet you, Arthur," Tom replied, feeling very grown up. Arthur continued to eat, slowly and gratefully. He told Tom that he was traveling, looking for a new job, and that he had fallen on hard times. He hadn't eaten all day. As Arthur ate the apple, its crisp crunch echoed in the quiet afternoon air. He told Tom that it was the sweetest apple he had ever tasted. Tom didn't feel the need to rush home anymore. He sat on the edge of the bench, a safe distance away, and listened. He told Arthur about his art class and the rainbow he painted. Arthur told Tom that he used to love to draw when he was a boy, and that Tom should never stop painting rainbows. When all the food was gone, Arthur carefully folded the sandwich wrapper and tucked it into his pocket. He stood up and looked down at Tom. "Tom," he said, his voice steady and strong now, "you did more than just give me food today. You gave me hope. You reminded me that there is still goodness and kindness in the world." He reached into his worn-out coat pocket and pulled out something small. It was a smooth, gray stone, shaped almost like a heart. It was a simple, ordinary stone, the kind you could find on any beach. But Arthur held it like it was a precious jewel. "I found this on my travels," he said, placing it in Tom's small hand. "It's not much, but I want you to have it. To remember that one small act of kindness can make a very big difference." Tom closed his fingers around the stone. It was cool and smooth against his palm. "Wow," he whispered. "Thank you, Arthur." He looked at the stone, then up at Arthur's smiling face. "I'll keep it forever." Arthur gave him a final nod. "You have a good heart, Tom. Don't ever lose that." And with that, he turned and walked down the street. But this time, his shoulders were back and his steps seemed lighter. He didn't look so tired or sad anymore. Tom watched him go until he was just a tiny speck in the distance. He then looked down at the heart-shaped stone in his hand. He put his backpack on and started walking home again, but his feet felt like they were floating on clouds. He didn't even notice that his stomach was empty. His heart was so full, there was no room for hunger. When he got home, his mom was in the kitchen. "Hi, sweetie. How was school?" she asked, giving him a big hug. "Did you enjoy your snack under the willow tree?" Tom hugged her back tightly. "It was great, Mom. But I didn't eat my snack." He opened his hand and showed her the smooth, gray stone. "I gave it to a new friend. His name is Arthur, and he was really, really hungry." Tom then told his mom the whole story. He told her about Arthur's rumbling stomach, about sharing his sandwich, and about the warm, bubbly feeling inside his chest. He told her how Arthur's sad eyes had turned into happy eyes. When he was finished, his mom knelt down and looked him right in the eyes. Her own eyes were shining. She didn't scold him for talking to a stranger. Instead, she wrapped him in the biggest, warmest hug. "Oh, Tom," she said, her voice filled with pride. "I am so proud of you. That was the kindest, most wonderful thing you could have done. That feeling you have, that's called compassion. It's the happiness you get from helping others." That evening, Tom placed the heart-shaped stone on his bedside table, right next to his favorite dinosaur lamp. Every night before he went to sleep, he would look at it. It wasn't just a stone. It was a reminder of Arthur, of the best sandwich he never ate, and of the incredible, powerful feeling of making someone's day a little brighter. Tom learned that day that you don't need to have superpowers to be a hero. Sometimes, all it takes is a little bit of kindness and a sandwich you're willing to share. And that, he realized, was the best lesson of all.